Hi, Susanna.
Hi, Sharon. You okay?
I'm good. I am so excited that you've decided to share your experiences on how Matrix Reimprinting has transformed your life. So, Susanna, just tell us, how has that happened for you?
Wow. Okay. So it's been an amazing journey, I have to say, so far. And I feel as I'm probably only at the beginning of it, although it feels incredible already. I'll try and keep it as brief as I can. I had a career as a lawyer and I practiced for 10 years. I was an advocate working in civil law. And I did love what I did, but it was also quite stressful at times. And I had a long history of personal development myself. I did a psychology degree many years ago and have always loved that aspect of the human psyche and how you can change it and what you can do. And I was looking for something to help me with a fear of flying, which I'd had for years and just wouldn't fly, full stop. So I came across EFT, which was recommended to me by a hypnotherapist. And my instinct was, are you mad? Tapping on my head, what's that going to do? But I was totally open to it as well. So I went in eyes wide open and had a go. And I ended up doing some Matrix with that. And the two combined, brilliant result. So 2 sessions. And so I decided, okay, brilliant. This works. I'm up for this. Let's train. Let's do it. And from the moment I trained with Janice Thompson, which was this January of last year, the end of January. So it's only been that period of time. And then I did Matrix with Carl Dawson in June of last year. I've only just repeated it again, which was fabulous because it was relearning and just improving and refreshing, learning so much more the second time, as you do. And in that very short space of time, I've used those techniques and tools, working on myself, doing vast amounts of, swapping and coaching from other practitioners at different levels who have been all amazing and helped me immensely. And I hope I've assisted them in some way too. And that's given me the ability, but also the tools, I suppose, to have the confidence to give up a good job with a good income and have the power to do what I wanted to do without even worrying at all. And now I'm seeing 20 clients a week, every week, without even advertising. It's just amazing. Ridiculous how well it's spread, how well it's gone, and how good I feel.
Excellent. So what I would like to know is, what did you discover about your fear of flying? Where did that originate from, and how did you clear that?
Okay, so I knew with mine it was a learned behaviour. My mother had always had that fear, and her father before her. So it was just literally a case of, as parents do, limiting belief, installed very, very young, pre-6, of course, right from birth. And also, people like us don't fly people like us don't really go on holiday. That was almost as far as that. So I didn't have a bad plane experience or anything to base it on whatsoever. It was totally irrational. I hadn't been, so how could I know? But I wouldn't go. I just wouldn't book it, to the extent that I wouldn't, if a friend invited me on holiday, it was a no immediately, not even a consideration of going.
So you wouldn't even get to the point of getting on the plane and being very fearful. You just wouldn't go at all.
Total avoidant behaviour. Absolute rigid, point blank, I'm not doing it. There was no going. I tried pretty much anything and everything you can think of, conventional and otherwise. The GP's response was to give me Valium. I tried it to see what would happen to me, and it did nothing, and I just fell asleep the next day. I thought, well, that's not going to help me, so I didn't bother with that. I tried hypnotherapy, which was enough to get me to book a fear of flying course. And that fear of flying course was actually, it wasn't the traditional Virgin one, where you actually have a flight. It was far more expensive, far more exciting and elaborate than that, because to me, if I did that, I'd have to fly, wouldn't I? So I booked one where I was with pilots in a simulator for the afternoon and learned everything you could want to know about flying in turbulence, and came out the other end absolutely no better off. although I had booked a flight and I did do it, it did get me on the plane, but I didn't fly again for another 15 years after that. So nothing worked, basically, literally nothing. And then one day I was starting to get into more of this kind of thing, and I thought, you've got the most self-limiting belief you could have, Susanah. Pull your finger out, do something about it. And that's where EFT came in. And basically I did some Matrix around a couple of times when I had the opportunity to fly and I'd avoided it and point blank refused to do it. It was helpful that I'd actually had flown once by then, even though it was a long time ago, because I had the experience behind me. So I was able to use Matrix to give myself that experience of actually having gone when I didn't, see what I mean. And obviously used quite a lot of traditional EFT as well to just knock out just this complete fear of, you know, going through each aspect and reframing it and looking at, you know, how can you be scared of something you haven't even tried? Tapping on the, once I'm up there, I can't get down. There's nothing underneath me. Fear of heights. I wouldn't say I was claustrophobic per se, but the idea of not being able to get off was, so we tapped on all of that as well, and just the two together. And I went to Rome and I had a great time, which was brilliant. And I'm off to Prague in a couple of weeks, and life has just suddenly gone, whoa, you know, you can do what you want to do. There's a world out there. So
fabulous, fabulous. And you're saying that you work with a lot of clients each week. Is there any one particular client session that you feel able just to share with us?
Oh my gosh.
I know it's very difficult just to think of one, but something that was so just amazing.
I think the moment when you see, I don't know whether I can find one particular session just without, because there's so many in my head. I mean, just one. Okay, yes, I can. And there's a lady I've been working with on loss and grief. And obviously I can't go into any of the details, as I know that you know, but when I get a text message from her after a session telling me that she's had the best day of her life since her husband passed away as a result of my session with her, and we've worked in Soul Space and the Matrix, we've worked on a number of memories resulting from his time in hospital, that just, I can't begin to tell you what that makes me feel. I could probably cry just thinking about it now. It just, you know, that's proper, oh my goodness, this is really changing lives. And every time that happens, I do think about Carl and think, thank you for giving me that tool to add to my kit. Amongst other things, it's one of the most powerful things out there, in my opinion. And perhaps another example might be when I see somebody achieve something in their business that they keep telling me they can't do. It can't be done because, and we work on the because, and suddenly it can be done, which is always really exciting. I love that.
Wow. So I know that you're starting to find your niche and find your clients and the areas that you really want to work in. So what is that, Susanah?
At the moment, there's two things that really strike me. One is anxiety and stress and overwhelm, which is a really generic area in itself, but I love to see people overcome that, because I think it was probably my biggest issue, was the stress of my job. And I realized it wasn't the job, it was how I handled the job. I would take myself with me into each and every situation. And once I changed that, I could be just as overwhelmed seeing 20 clients a week, and I'm not, because I'm different. I'm completely different about how I handle it, the tools I use to overcome it. So that would be one area. And the other is, I love working with people who are highly motivated in a business environment. It matches me, and it matches my coaching style really well. And for me, it gives me the ability to use the tools I have, including Matrix Reimprinting, to really positive effect. And for me, whoever is at the head of a business, whoever is at the front of it, be that the leader or the owner or the manager, is the business, and whatever limiting belief they have will go straight through to that business, and it will be all pervasive throughout the whole thing. So if you change the manager's beliefs, the leader's beliefs, the business will just change as a matter of course, without really doing an awful lot more than that. It's almost like a natural progression. And I've seen that happen with quite a few MDs that I work with now, which is brilliant. So it's changing their personal attitudes, change their business attitude, changes their goals, changes their outcome. It's perfect. Perfect tool.
Beautiful. And that's what I love myself about Matrix Reimprinting. It can be applied to any area of your life.
Everything.
Everything, whether it's sports, whether it's business, whether it's health.
Yeah.
It's just limitless.
Yes.
So Susanah, if somebody wanted to work with you, who was drawn and interested by what you've just been saying, how would they get in contact with you, or where would they find you?
Okay, Sharon, I've got a website now, which has got everything about me and a little bit about Matrix and EFT and my approach to business coaching. And due to my rather comical name, Susanah Platt makes me splat. So I've decided to use my splat to good effect. And I have www.splat-coaching.co.uk. And there's a contact form there where people can find me. Or I'm on Facebook, there's a business page as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Susanah, thank you so much for sharing your stories, and I know that your business is just going to grow and grow. So thank you for taking this time to be with us today.
Oh, thank you, Sharon. It's been an absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed it, and thank you for the opportunity. It's
You're
great.
welcome. Matrix rocks. Yay.
Oh, thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.